Today in the meat suit, we're gonna be checking the brakes. We're gonna check both sides and we'll see what we got. Alright, you guys always wanna work on a car that is supported by jack stands, and I have this just touching on the frame just in case these cheap jack stands fail. I mean, hopefully the jack will save the car. Also, when you take off the wheels, try to slide it underneath of the car too, just in case if everything else fails, it falls in the wheel and something's holding it up at least. But yeah, we're gonna start by taking off the wheel and inspecting the components. I don't know if you guys can tell, but this tire has a cupping. It's like this, wavy, whatever. It's dry rotted, so definitely gonna need new tires. I believe the other side is in similar condition, but as you can see, these rotors, I've seen better days. But those are the brake pads. Yeah. Looks like we have a ripped CV axle boot. It's leaking out old grease. Oh, yeah. One of these sway bar end links are good, but you'll see. You can see the brake pads. Alright, luckily, I already got new ceramic brake pads and rotors. We'll check them out. Go. Bubble wrap. And the brake pads. Ceramic pads. Onto the rotors. There we go. Look at these guys. We got some drilled and slotted brake rotors. This one is for the front driver's side. I got these from Brake Motive on eBay, so these were a pretty good price. Got the whole set actually with the rotors and the pads. Definitely wanted to get these because they were cheap and I want to see how good they are for a low price, see their quality or not. Take another look. Nice and thick walls. Yeah, now let's put them on. Alright, to make things easier, I'm going to turn the wheel to the left. That way I can have better access to the caliper bracket bolts. Alright, as you guys can see here, we have bracket bolt right there. And we have another one right there. So we have to remove those to get the whole caliper off so we can take the rotor off. Alright guys, in this particular car, these bracket bolts are 17 millimeter. Alright, if you guys don't have electric impact or air impact, you could always use a breaker bar like this or a big old 1/2-inch ratchet like that. But either way, I have the tool, so why not use it and doing extra work, right? So we have the caliper guide bolts off. We're gonna try to wiggle this out here and put it on top of the box. That way, when this, because we didn't have this box here to support it, it'll the weight of this caliper and guide, whatever, will be on this brake line, and I don't want to stretch that and ruin this line. I don't want to replace more parts. So here we go. See? Alright, I got this big old snap-on hammer. Whack this. Watch your ears. Also, you could try some penetrating fluid. I'm gonna use this PV blaster. Spray around here. Then whack it again with a hammer. And this thing is tight on there. Let's try again. There we go. Before we put the new rotors on, we're gonna spray them with Brakleen, because from the factory they come shipped with the protective like oil or something you could call it, so that they don't rust. This actually is zinc plated, but we're still gonna spray with Brakleen and clean it off. Now that we got this rotor clean, we can put it up on the car. Now as far as brake pads, let's see what we got. Wish it came with a hardware, but you know, that's eBay. So there's this little wire, metal piece that goes through this clip, I guess we call it. That goes through both pins. There's a hole, so you have to remove this first. Let's try this. There we go. There we go. Finally pulled that out. So you can see this thing got bent. Always bend it back. Now we can pull these pins out. Okay. Alright guys, after you get the rotor on, you're going to want to compress the pistons. Since the new pads are bigger, they're not going to fit inside the caliper and slide on top of the rotor, so you're going to want to crack the bleeder open. You're going to want to compress one side at a time. Here I just have a C-clamp and one of the old pads, and I'm just going to sandwich it like that and just tighten back here. Once it gets hard, you know that you push the pistons back all the way. Then we'll do the same thing on these two pistons. Alright guys, ran into a problem here. These two went in fine, like the pistons I'll show you. See, they're pretty flush. And these, I tried pushing them back, and I tried one at a time. The top one went in easily, but the bottom one is not moving at all, so I'm going to try to disconnect the brake line from there so I can take off the whole caliper and see why that one isn't retracting. So alright guys, so here's how I did it. I put an old brake pad here, one on top because you guys can see there it's like an uneven space, so I don't know how this would have fit down there. Now we could even it out, even pressure. But yeah, after cracking the bleeder loose, as you can see that's where the brake line went, this hole right there. It finally came flush. Now we just have to put it back on the car, put the new pads in, and all the hardware like the clips and the pins and stuff like that. Yep. Alright guys, quick tip here. Get yourself one of these thread restore kits. It's not a tap and die set. It looks like one, but it just restores like boogered up threads. These two are the caliper bolts. Now I know the top one was, you know, too hard to screw in by hand, but the bottom one was nice and easy, so I figured out that these let me see, I'll show you guys. These threads were kind of dirty, so with crud and whatever. So then the easiest way to find out, you know, what's your thread diameter, thread bolt diameter and pitch, take one of these. Alright, so I know this is the same width as that, but then you put it up next to it, and these have to align. This is too coarse, so this is too fine. So just keep trying. This is an M12, and as you can see, the space evens out. Well, space gets closed. So I know it's an M12 by, these are all labeled, M12 by 125. So then I go to the little die. I find my corresponding die. They're all labeled M12 by 125. You screw it on with your hand. Once it gets hard, you back it off a little bit to loosen up all the stuff. Once it gets hard, just keep going like this back and forth. And all this does is just clean up those threads. You could also use a wire. You could also use a wire wheel or wire brush as well. Usually I do this and I always scrub it with a wire wheel afterwards. Now, I already did it on this one, but it doesn't hurt to do it again. That way I'm showing you guys how to use this. Do it on the new one too. Well, I'll do it on the bottom one as well. Now we can take our little tap kind of deal here. As you can see, it has cutouts, so all the crud can go in here and get out. And I'm gonna put this inside where the bolts go and just clean those threads out as well. Alright guys, now what we're gonna do is put these caliper bolts back in. Just take some gray anti-seize, just put some on the threads, bolt like so. Just gonna run these down. Top. Alright. Make sure you tighten those to factory specs. Now we can slide in our brake pads. The side without the scratcher, we're going to put towards the outside. Then we'll take the one with the little metal scratcher, put it on the inside. Here we go. Okay. Don't forget to tighten up your brake line. Take our clip. I believe it goes like this. Just tap that with a hammer. Take our other pin. Put this underneath. You're gonna take your clip. This is all bent up. Try to fix it a little bit. This thing's messed. Whatever, this will do. Just gonna. There's a hole in here that this loop goes into, so might want to turn these pins so you can use a screwdriver. You can line up the holes. Same thing with the top. Then we put this here. Alright guys, so just make sure you spray the rotor with Brakleen before you drive, and also you want to bleed the brakes after you do this procedure. Well, at least I have to, because I took the brake line off and I opened the bleeder. Also, before you drive, always pump your brakes after you do any brake work. That way these pistons go all the way out and are already touching the rotor. But yeah, also just copy this on the other side, pretty much same thing. Also, quick tip, you're going to want to use your lug nuts to hold your rotor, that way it doesn't move back and forth. Once your caliper's on, then you can unscrew these and throw your wheel back on and tighten your lug nuts. Just a quick video of this, how they look through the open spokes and wheels. Pretty nice. It's really dark out, but as you can see, not too bad.